welcome to Half the Battle.
During Cobra Convergence, I ran down the best Cobra figure from every year of the original line. So today, I'm doing the same for the Joes.
But before we get started, a couple of people have asked me if I was gonna do a worst Cobra list by year. And even though negativity always sells on YouTube, in this case, I'm not gonna do it for a couple of reasons.
For one thing, the first 5 years didn't really have any bad Cobra figures, unless you get too nitpicky even for my taste.
And that's saying something.
So I wouldn't have an entry for those years. For another thing, most of the list would just be a repeat of my worst Cobra troops list. And finally, they released Crystal Ball, Raptor and Crocmaster all in the same year. How am I supposed to pick the worst one between those?
That's like Sophie's choice, if Sophie really hated children.
So I won't be making that video, but we are gonna delve into the best Joe figure from each year right now. 1982, Snake Eyes. Yes, the 1982 line started it all and is iconic, but the Joe figures were bland and interchangeable. Literally, since most of them interchanged body parts. In all that, one figure stood out, Snake Eyes. He looks mysterious and cool, and black, completely black.
I mean, how much more black could this be? And the answer is none. None more black.
The only other contender was Scarlet, but I don't really like her head sculpt, so Snake Eyes wins. 1983, Tripwire. Now, if this was a list of the most iconic Joes from each year, then the winner would be Duke. But this list is about what figures I personally like the best, and aesthetically, my favorite one is Tripwire. He's got a great look and cool accessories, and fits in well with the original 82 Joes, while still looking unique. 1984, Rakando.
I said this was a personal list, and that's why Rakando is here.
This figure was never released in Belgium, but I did get him as a kid from a Dutch toy store in an Action Force 4-pack. Yeah, note that packaging, cheap, huh? This was before I saw the cartoons or read the comics, so I had no idea who this guy was. So he became sorta my self-insert character when I was playing as a kid. That's why he's my pick here. Well, that, and he looks pretty freaking awesome. 1985, Crimson Guard.
Now, hear me out here.
Joseph dressed up as Crimson Guards in other media, I'm sure. Hell, Scoop in the Deke series started out as a Crimson Guard, so this totally counts.
Oh, okay, even I'm not buying my own bullcrap on this one, so here's the real entry.
1985 for realsies, Lady J. This was the first really tough choice. 1985 saw a lot of great Joe figures, and is the best year of G.I.Joe. Lady J wins it because it's a great and unique looking figure, and she's the first female Joe with a great head sculpt. 1986, Beachhead.
Another difficult year to make a decision.
Once again, there were a lot of great figures to choose from. I always really liked the Beachhead figure, and it was nice to see a masked Joe that wasn't Snake Eyes for once. I do have to admit that in this case, my choice has been affected by his cartoon character. I loved how put upon and grumpy he always was.
I can, however, assure you that cartoon appearances had no effect on my next choice.
1987, Falcon. Yeah, I'll happily ignore G.I.Joe the movie and just focus on how awesome this figure looks. He looks like a real soldier, which was becoming rarer in G.I.Joe at the time, so it was between him and Law. And for me, Falcon just looks better. Most of the other figures this year were just average, and like I've said before, that's not a bad thing, they're fine figures, but they just didn't wow me.
But if you want to know how an average figure can become a great one, then the next entry is for you.
1988, Night Force Outback. Yeah, the original Outback was an okay figure, but this repaint really let him shine and propelled him to my favorite figure of 1988, even though this too was a good year for G.I. Joe figures. But he's so cool looking that a repaint won out on his closest competitor, Shockwave. Though I do have a feeling Shockwave will get his revenge.
Like right now!
1989, Night Force Shockwave. Yeah, Night Force was just brilliant, so much so that this figure's only real competition were the other Night Force figures. Because once again, the other Joes from this year were just average, though in a good way. 1990, Rampart.
This was once again a hard year to pick because there were so many good figures.
Rampart is the more unique looking in a good way, unlike say Captain Gridiron, who's unique looking in a bad way. I'll be honest, this was practically a coin flip between Rampart and Bullhorn. And though Bullhorn wins on accessories, I like Rampart slightly better overall, though I can't see why others would go for Bullhorn. 1991, Mercer version 2.
Okay, I'm beginning to sound like a broken record here, but this was another headache to pick. As an aside, that's a real luxury problem, isn't it? That it's so difficult to decide the best Joe from each year. That just shows how great the toy line was.
Anyway, I ended up going with Mercer not only because of his great look, but also because of how much of an improvement it was over the first version, and how much more the look fits the character. He's an ex-Viper, and his mold and color scheme is clearly based on the original Viper, a figure that was released 5 years earlier. He looks as though he's just heavily modified his original uniform.
So kudos to Hasbro for that. What? I could be nice to Hasbro. It happens like once a year, but I can do it.
1992, Roadblock version 4. This pick was far easier, as this is my favorite Roadblock figure from the original line. He's got that old school look that makes him fit in with toys from the golden age of G.I. Joe, the mid-80s. No other Joe from 92 really comes close to looking as good. 1993, Beachhead version 2. I was sorely tempted to cheat here and put Night Force Shockwave again, as that figure was re-released in 93 as part of a mail-away pack. But I'm gonna be fair and pick a new figure. And it's another Beachhead. He had some stiff competition, and there were a ton of figures released in 1993, but I do have a soft spot for masked figures.
Hard to tell, I know.
1994, Shipwreck version 2.
9 years.
It took 9 freaking years for Shipwreck to get a second figure. That alone should place him on top here, but it's also a damn cool take on the character and very different from the original. Plus, there was no sign of any neon colors on him, a small freaking miracle in 1994. Unlike with Cobra, this is a pretty damn good figure to end on, so that was the list.
If you disagree with my choices and have your own favorites from each year, do let me know in the comments below. Well, I'll see you next time, everybody, and hey, why not like, share and subscribe if that's your thing? I'm trying to get to 2,500 subs.